So over the weekend, I watched Netflix's Love, Death and Robots, a show that I was pretty excited for because it was done by Tim Miller and David Fincher, two people that I really love and respect. And after having watched it, I would say that this might be in my top 5, if not top 3 favorite Netflix series so far. So let's talk about why I loved it and why I think you should really watch it. So Love, Death and Robots is an anthology series, basically meaning that it is 18 episodes of separate short films, basically. And these short animation films are completely different from one another. There are, of course, certain similarities, visual similarities, thematic similarities here and there, but overall they are meant to be their separate things and kind of stand on their own. So we all know who David Fincher is, but Tim Miller, of course, also directed Deadpool. But some of you may not know that Tim Miller has a company that is responsible for some of the most awesome stuff you've seen that you might not have realized by them. So Miller's company, Blur Animation, has been responsible for some really awesome stuff. The Arkham games, the cinematic trailers for those, the Knights of the Old Republic, the DC Universe. He even did the opening title sequence for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is my favorite Fincher opening title sequence. So really, he knows what he's doing in terms of the animation work, which brings me to the first reason I think you should really watch this show. The filmmaking, the animation, the overall craft is absolutely incredible. And judging it purely from a filmmaking point of view, it is some of the most impressive stuff you will watch. And I think that if you're interested in filmmaking, being able to see 18 incredibly unique and diverse stories is going to be so inspirational to you. Because I make short films on a regular basis. I'm working on one now. And to be able to see these guys go out there and do 18 completely unique and different and really entertaining, well-developed films, basically short films, is incredibly inspiring for me and has really kind of boosted my creative juices, if you will. And even if you're judging this just purely on the basis of entertainment, it is a really cool, really fun set of episodes, because it's not like some sort of deep, complex exploration of humanity or whatever. There are some thematic concerns and messages and stuff like that that are brought up. But overall, I do feel that Love, Death and Robots is entertainment first and foremost. It is awesome, it is stylish, it is just the animation style, which I'll get into more in detail in just a bit, is so well done and so creative and so diverse. Each short has its own unique, distinct style, its own unique look and feel, and this is due to the fact that Miller and Fincher are working with a lot of different companies, a lot of different animation companies, each one working on maybe one or two, and then another one working on one, and then another one working on one. And that makes for a lot of really awesome visual diversity. And in an interview, Miller said that he would give these companies pretty much 100% creative control, which basically is unheard of in Hollywood. We've all heard stories of studio interference, this and that kind of stop the creators from fully going, all the way. But in Love, Death and Robots, they really go all the way. So those are my reasons to why you should watch Love, Death and Robots. Now, for those of my viewers who have actually seen the show, now I'm gonna be doing a mild spoilered ranking of each episode, because that's what everyone's been doing and I want to kind of share my ranking with you guys. So I'm going to rank the episodes from worst to best, starting with number 18, Blind Spot. This was a fine episode. It was fun, it was exciting, the animation was well done, but I just felt that it came at a time in the series where I had seen a lot of the stuff done before. It felt like an amalgamation of some of the other stories. Next up is The Dump. This is fun, light-hearted, creative. It was fine. Sucker of Souls is up next at number 16. Really great animation. I love the style. The body splitting scene was awesome, and the overall action and sense of energy was definitely there. Up next is Alternate Histories. Pretty funny, great concept, but I do feel that it did take things a bit far at times, and I felt that it got kind of old quite quickly. At number 14 is Helping Hand. It's basically an animated version of Gravity, but with more gore. Really great. You genuinely felt the sense of desperation. Next up at number 13 is When the Yogurt Took Over. This is pretty funny. Again, really well done animation, and it does have a very kind of weird, unique, and sort of quirky concept to it. Up next is Ice Age. Now, this one was actually directed by Tim Miller, and it's the only one done in live action. I thought the performances were weirdly not that good. The chemistry wasn't really there, or maybe the actors didn't have a lot of time to prepare, but the overall concept of it and the overall execution I thought was very well done. I thought the animation and live action blended pretty damn seamlessly with each other, so really impressed with that one. Up next is Lucky 13, a relatively visually generic one. The animation was absolutely amazing. The motion capture, I genuinely thought at some points that was a person. I was really impressed by how well developed the relationship between the main character and her ship was. I was genuinely invested, and I would definitely say it's one of the most emotionally effective shorts out of all of them. Up next is Fish Night. I really enjoyed this one. The animation style reminded me a lot of The Wolf Among Us, the Telltale game, RIP Telltale. I thought the overall sense of atmosphere was really well done. I would say that at times it felt a little bit like a ripoff of the Icarus story, the Greek myth, but it was still really fun to watch. Up next is Three Robots. Amazing writing, amazing voice performances, and weirdly deep, but effectively so. At number 8 is The Secret War. This is definitely up there as one of the most visually stunning. It is so damn beautiful and so impressively made. The action is terrific. The colors, the lighting, the fact that they added a bit of film grain in there was so impressive to me, and it's just a visual feast. And after The Secret War is another absolute visual feast, The Witness. The overall concept and story is basically quite simple, but then it becomes more complex, and it does get a bit pretentious. I'm not the only one who said this, but the animation style is very reminiscent of Into the Spider-Verse. It almost feels as if that team worked on Ghost in the Shell. The director of this short was actually part of the art department for Spider-Verse, so it makes sense. I would actually say that this shot right here, this pan, is probably my favorite shot in the entire series. It is, again, like Secret War, an absolute feast for the eyes. Up next is Zima Blue, another absolute visual feast for the eyes. I keep saying this, but it's so true. Not only is it really well done and dynamic and creative in terms of its visual presentation, I definitely related to the story and the themes that it brought up, and I feel like if you're an artist, you'll definitely relate to this story in one way or another. At number 5 is Suit, probably the most widely accessible and kind of fun on the surface level one. It had a lot of heart, you genuinely cared about the characters, there was emotion, there was depth, and that ending added one extra layer of complexity which I thought made the film even better. Number 4 is Shapeshifters. I seriously enjoyed this one. The dynamic between the two leads was amazing. That one POV tracking shot, stunning. The transformation scenes, the fight scenes were so well executed. The violence was really justified and worked so well to the story. And I've always been a big fan of the integration of fantasy and sci-fi into a realistic setting, so I absolutely loved Shapeshifters. Now, it was very hard to kind of pick which would be in my top 3. I loved all of them very much, and they were all number 1 for me, basically. But if I had to rank them, here it goes. Number 3 is Sonny's Edge, the first one in the series, and I feel like the best representation and summary of Love, Death and Robots as a whole. So well done. The animation actually reminded me a lot of Ready Player One, but in all the best ways. The violence, the action, the twists, everything worked and then some. At number 2 was Good Hunting. Now, this was one that brought up a lot of nostalgia in me, because after I did my last Airbender video back in January, I decided to watch the whole series and Legend of Korra from start to finish back to back, and the overall style of Good Hunting reminded me a lot of that, so I did feel a lot of nostalgia for that kind of steampunk world meets fantasy kind of thing. So yeah, I really loved this one. Which brings me to my favorite short in the series, which is Beyond the Aquila Rift. Now, a lot of other people on YouTube have said that this is their favorite one as well, and it is truly outstanding. It might not be the most exciting or action-packed, it's the one that had me coming back the most. I love when a film or an episode of TV genuinely makes you think, and that is exactly what Beyond the Aquila Rift did. And on top of that, just look at this motion capture work. It is absolutely flawless. You can literally see the pores on their face. It is some of the most impressive work I've ever seen. So yeah, that was my ranking for the episode of Love, Death, Robots. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.